What up? Mike Macy Jack from No Sin Customs here with Jeff Martin from Munssey Speed and his Camaro. Jeff will show her off. What we got here?
Well, we got the 67 put all back together now that we got the SpeedTech subframe underneath it, and these sweet 18 by 11 ET custom offset wheels. So she's now a roller, which means we can go into final metal cage and get the back chassis all set up, and that's why she's here.
Now that I've made some measurements from the wheel well and body lines to the axle center line and figured out how I want it to set, once we do the four link, I'm gonna go ahead and jack it up, pull the rear end out. Need to order another rear end. We're going a little bit wider. We're putting a Winter's Performance quick change in this deal, so that'd be pretty cool. We got 315s all the way around. It's a little loud out there. It's raining right now. So we're gonna go ahead and cut out most of this trunk floor. I think we're gonna try to leave the wheel wells. Also need to modify that support right there, because the trunk lid sits a little high from some previous modifications. The people that put the mini tubs in got that a little bit off. Yeah, we got a bunch of cutting to do. We're gonna cut that back seat support out. Make way for some big old frame rails. Made my marks 25 inches from the wheel center line. It's kind of hard to trace across the floors when you can't really get around all those angles and stuff. So what I did, just to show y'all, is I used a square and transferred across all those straight edges. As you can see, there's a line under there. A couple of them negate them, but you can see the straight ones that connect. Sometimes you can just plunge cut your cutoff wheel into those lines. But what I like to do in this case is, as you can see light coming through, I'll drill some holes. Then you can come to the top. As you can see, we got a hole here. Hole here. You'd have to cut this bracket off, it's in the way. But you can straight edge those holes up here on the top and make it easier so you're not laying underneath cutting. But in this case, the back floor pans are so trashed and dented to shit, and we're gonna be rebuilding a lot of floors in this car, that I'm gonna make it easy and just cut across this this seam of these seat brackets. I'm gonna cut straight across there, cut across these inside areas next to the rockers. I'll probably cut it a little bit short and then dress the edges so I have room to work in here. As you can see, when they mini tubbed it, lucky for me that the guys that worked on it didn't seam seal it for Jeff. So that's just gonna make my job easier. We gotta cut this packing shelf out. Trunk pan. as you can see, I've cut out most of the floors. This way I'll be able to get to the headliner to change it. So, yeah. I don't know what we'll do after this, but at least we'll have a pretty new headliner. So we got the floors cut out most of the way. Now we got room to get in there with a rolling chair and clean up all around the edges. Get that piece of frame rail off there. Dress this up. Get out the angle grinder. Make it all pretty. Then we can start constructing some frame rails and whatnot. Flintstone's car. We got all the metal cleaned up. Ready for some frame rail action. Nice and clean. We got the car leveled on the rocker panels. As you can see, she's damn near perfect. Leveled it both ways. Transmission tunnel, all that. So now we will start dealing with frame rails. It's like Legos. So we got the cross member sitting in there, not tacked in yet or anything. Per the directions, it said the front face of that cross member needs to be 25 inches from the axle center line, which we measured before we took everything apart. We did that. I transferred that with a straight edge. I'm sorry, a pocket square, all the way around to the inside here. It's just sitting in here, it needs tacked in better. So that front face is 25 inches from the axle center line. Next, what we got to do is take the 2/2 for our drive shaft safety loop kit that came with this stuff and cut it to whatever length we want, which I'm giving a go ahead and give it 10 inches of travel on the inside for the drive shaft, which is plenty. So we're gonna head on over here. I've already kind of mocked stuff up, did some measurements, traced my lines, go ahead and cut those 2/2, weld them together, then mark the cross member and weld that sucker on in there. Old Ruckus and the Archangel keeping us company. Here we go. Now we just need to slice this chunk out and weld that sucker in there. We got this thing jigged up. We're gonna get her welded up. Drive shaft loop in the cross member, right in it. Tacked up, we'll finish welding it. So I've got the frame rail sitting in there mocked up, cross member tacked in. Everything's looking pretty good. Just gotta figure out the spacing on the frame rails for the coilovers, 4-link and all that. I want everything outboard space as far as possible so that we can have best control over the suspension. Here, what's happening? Everything's just sitting in there right now. Frame rails are just sitting there with magnets. Pretty good fit considering. Nice little fit up on stuff. As you can see, we've got plenty of room for activities. All this will be carbon fiber in the rear, I believe. Cross member will be connected up to the front subframe, the Speed Tech stuff. And then everything will be roll caged with a pretty extensive cage in case he wants to go up Pikes Peak. Can't have my boy dying on me. Yeah, overall, pretty happy. It's looking good. Stay tuned for the next segment where we will do more stuff. Later.